President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi conducted a phone call with the President of Uganda, Yoweri Museveni, greeting him on re-election. The President said that the course of the latest presidential election in Uganda reflected the Ugandans' confidence in the political leadership. President al-Sisi hailed the historic bilateral ties and expressed Egypt's keen interest in promoting them, building on the recent visit paid by the Ugandan leader to Egypt in August of 2025. Museveni, meanwhile, expressed his utmost appreciation for the greeting that he had received from the head of state, saying that he looks forward to a visit by President al-Sisi to his country. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi stressed the necessity of forging an aware and all-inclusive religious discourse facing terrorism, safeguarding the homelands and achieving construction. The President's remarks came during his meeting with the delegations participating in the 36th International Conference of the Supreme Council of the Islamic Affairs, saying that the Egyptian vision for the religious discourse is based on rescuing religion from being an arena of conflict and argument. The head of state warned that the religions could be snatched by extremists who turn it into terror and violence, which leads to shedding blood and spreading sabotage and finally causing atheism. Earlier, the 36th International Conference of the Supreme Council of the Islamic Affairs kicked off in Cairo under the slogan of Professions in Islam, Ethics, Impacts and the Future during the Artificial Intelligence Era. Addressing the conference, Minister of Endowments and the head of the Supreme Council of the Islamic Affairs, Osama Al-Azhari, said that working for the people's benefits is a great aim of the Islamic Sharia, pointing that Prophet Muhammad's biography has offered a comprehensive leading figure in life and work. Meanwhile, the Egyptian Mufti Nadir Ayed said that the world is witnessing rapid transformation in the nature of jobs in light of the unprecedented leap in the artificial intelligence. The conference is held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with the participation of a wide range of senior scholars, thinkers and researchers from several countries. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli chaired a follow-up meeting of the pace of work at the first phase projects of the presidential initiative, A Decent Life, as the preparations for the implementation of the second phase projects begin. Madbouli said that the meeting came in line with the directives by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to conclude the implementation of the projects in the set timeline along the highest quality standards. Projects in the second phase target 1,667 villages in 20 governorates. Also on Monday, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli pointed out to the presidential directives on the start of implementing the medical capital for the educational hospitals and institutes, being a turning point in the public medical services. The Prime Minister made these remarks during a meeting to follow up on the project, where he was briefed by the Minister of Health and Population Khalid Abdel Ghaffar on the procedures taken to its implementation. Madbouli hailed the promoted level of the technical studies pertaining to this mega project. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdul Ati reiterated the Egyptian support for the National Committee governing Gaza. The minister made these remarks at a meeting with the committee chief Ali Shaf, stressing the committee's pivotal role in managing the daily affairs of Gazans and securing their essential needs ahead of the Palestinian Authority's restoration of power in the Strip. He asserted the importance of establishing a constant geographical and administrative contact between Gaza and the West Bank, being necessary to maintain the unity of the Palestinian territories. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdulati conducted a series of phone calls with the Saudi, Kuwaiti and Pakistani counterparts. The talks stressed the necessity of moving ahead with the implementation of the second phase of the U.S. President Donald Trump's peace plan for Gaza and the rapid deployment of an international stabilization force to monitor the ceasefire implementation. The top diplomats also pressed for launching the reconstruction across the devastated territory while ensuring the continued flow of the humanitarian aid to its people. Abdulati also conducted phone talks with the Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan, which focused on the ongoing preparations for holding the second meeting of the Bilateral Strategic Cooperation Council over the upcoming period. Minister of Foreign Affairs Badr Abdulati conducted a phone call with the Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan, which focused on the ongoing preparations for holding the second meeting of the Bilateral Strategic Cooperation Council over the upcoming period. The phone call also touched on the developments in Gaza with Abdulati, stressing the importance of implementing the second phase ceasefire plan in Gaza and launching the early recovery on the territory. On Sudan, Egypt's top diplomat called for reaching a humanitarian truce, paving the way for a permanent ceasefire, securing its people and preserving its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Egypt hailed the ceasefire deal that was announced earlier on Sunday, integrating the Syrian Democratic Forces with the Syrian government forces. A Foreign Ministry statement expressed Egypt's hope that the deal is the first step towards the comprehensive political settlement in support for the security, stability and the territorial integrity of the Syrian state. Egypt also reiterated the support for the Syrian efforts to face terrorism and tackle the problem of foreign terrorists, being a key factor to restore the Syrian stability and enhance its national cohesion. Minister of Planning, Economic Development and the International Cooperation Rania Al-Mashot signed a $117 million deal with the African Development Bank. Al-Mashot hailed the signing, which reflects the bank's support for the Egyptian sustainable development and the private sector. A $400,000 grant was also inked by both sides to the sustainable enhancement of a sewage water treatment station, one of the largest worldwide. Egypt's stock market indices collectively went up in the trading session after selective purchasing operations by the Arab and the foreign investment funds reached higher rates. The benchmark EGX 30 index jumped by 2.49% to close at 45,048.44 points. The EGX 70 index for the small and medium businesses also added 1.4%, and the broader EGX 100 index also gained 1.52% at the closure. The market capitalization gained £61 billion to close at £2,078 billion.